You're watching Pyro Media Network.
We just keep on walking, but never really getting nowhere. It's like we keep on talking, but never really saying nothing. On different sides, on different times, stuck in a ways we ain't changing. Can't read your mind, and I've really tried. You won't let me in like we're strangers. Say opposites, supposed to attract, but we both can tell it feels often. Should let it go, but somehow we fold, and it happens way too often. We're so different, we're so different. How can we end up we make it fit in? It's just like we're so different, we're so different. I don't quite understand you, you don't get me. It's just like we're blinded by
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Performing rest and the cost of being the strong one. Welcome back to Tammy's Take. Welcome back to the show. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you're not a first time watcher, welcome back. I hope you will like, subscribe, and comment so we know that you do like the show. Tonight's show, I wanted to talk about something very, very personal, and you may feel like my energy is a little low. And my energy isn't low because I'm feeling low. I think my energy is low because tonight's show is about how we perform rest. So I want to talk about something that many of us are experiencing, but very few of us are talking about. We're exhausted, not tired, not in need of a nap, exhausted, so tired, emotionally depleted, mentally overloaded. And a lot of us are pretending we're okay, and we're not. We're physically present, and internally, we're running on fumes. And yet, many of us are doing something fascinating. We're performing rest. We're taking the vacations. We're posting the pictures. We're scheduling the spa day. We're buying the self-care products. We're blocking out time on our calendar. We're taking the mental health day. We're logging off of social media. I logged off of social media last week. And when I say social media, TikTok. I make a lot of content there, but I just felt like I needed just some time to be away from performing, giving, and not receiving in return. And I think because a lot of us, especially those of us who are in the content creation space, those of us who have built a following, people follow us because they like our takes. They follow us because they think we, what we have to say is important. And so we're doing all the things. We're going to the spa days. We're logging off. We're taking the mental health break, and somehow we're still exhausted because looking rested is not the same thing as being restored. Some of us aren't resting. We're performing wellness, right? We're performing self-care. We just are physically exhausted. And many people have become so accustomed to it. And being the strong one, the one that holds it all together, the friend that everybody can call and you are holding on by a thread. You are this close from snapping. You are this close from needing the help you have been giving everybody else. Another task, another thing to get right, another thing to achieve. I saw a TikTok the other day. A woman said She said, isn't it interesting? We come into the world naked with nothing. Not shirt, not onesie, not Pampers, not even a bottle, not even a tit to suckle on. We come naked. We show up in this world naked. And we leave this world with nothing. And we spend the entirety of our lives chasing something. And whether you're chasing fame, whether you're chasing fortune, whether you're chasing notoriety, whether you're chasing celebrity, whether you're chasing the promotion, whether you're chasing the man, you're chasing the woman, all of this all this chasing we're doing, although we're going to leave here with nothing. And we spend the entirety of our lives just chasing it. And while we're chasing, we're pretending we're resting. Like I said, we're taking the vacations. We're posting our pictures. We're going on the women's retreat and the men's conferences and the women's conferences and the women's prayer nights and the women's shut-in and the girls' nights. We're doing all the things that says, I'm disconnecting. It's all a performance. Because when you get back to the house, you're tired. Your soul is tired. And at this point, we've gotten to the place where we are scheduling self-care. Self-care is now the thing that has to get on the schedule. It isn't innate. It isn't us leading by our intuition when we feel it's time to pull back, step back. We are scheduling it. We approach healing the same way we approach work. We turn wellness into another item on our to-do list. And then we wonder why we're still tired. The truth is, for many of us, we've built an identity around being needed. Now, this is the hard truth for a lot of us. And I'm going to raise my hand here. We have built our identity around being needed. We feel secure. We want to be the dependable ones. We like being the dependable ones. We like being the responsible one. We all have a friend in our friend group who is the responsible one. And they relish that role of being the responsible one, the one who figures it out, the one who takes care of everybody. I was in a friendship with a woman for 18 years. And I used to say, I am the religious mom, because I was very religious back then in our friendship. I am the religious mom. I am the political mom. I will research all the candidates and I will tell us. She just said, you research them and you tell me who I'm voting for. And she was the fun mom. She was the mom that planned our kids' birthday parties. I didn't have to think about it. I just had to give her the money and she planned. She was the one that made sure we had Easter egg hunts. Now, she did make me go outside and plant some eggs. She's like, now you ain't getting away with not doing nothing. So I did have to go plant the eggs, but she got all the candies and put it in the eggs. She did all of the Christmas gatherings, all of the New Year's gatherings, all of the Thanksgiving gatherings. And she loved being that one. She loved being the responsible one. She loved being the one that we needed. She loved being the one that we counted on. And a lot of us are some of those people. We like being the one who always gets it right, the one who holds it together, the one who carries the emotional labor for my friend group. And if you don't believe me, just go on TikTok. Hell, search YouTube. You will find women and men saying how burnt out they are about being the one that everybody calls, but yet they can't seem to let go of that need because it's become their identity. And somewhere along the way, strength stopped being something we did and became something we believed we had to be. We stopped making strength something we had to do to believing it was something that we always had to be. To be is to be in a constant state of a thing. To perform strength, to exhibit strength, is this moment I need to be strong. But if I'm not strong, it's okay. A lot of you are not okay if you're not strong. The problem with that identity is that it leaves very little room for your humanity. When you have to identify yourself as something that people need, want, and depend on, you have erased your own humanity. Because strong people aren't supposed to need help. Strong people aren't supposed to get overwhelmed. Strong people aren't supposed to fall apart. Strong people aren't supposed to rest until everything is done. And for many women and men, everything is never done. There's always another responsibility, another expectation, another demand, another airing, another reason to postpone ourselves and rest. What if the exhaustion isn't working from what you're carrying? What if it's coming from belief that you have to carry it alone? Why do you believe that? Where did you get that from? Where did you learn that from? And a lot of us, especially women, learned how to be strong, how to endure from the women that raised us, from the mothers we had, the grandmothers we had. And some of you, that's saying, I had a praying grandmother. Now you're the praying mother and grandmother because you believe you have to be. Because the woman that raised you was that, always praying for somebody else, always travailing for somebody else, always crying out for somebody else while being utterly exhausted. Utterly exhausted. What if your fatigue isn't simply physical? What if it's emotional? What if it's spiritual? Now, I want you to hear me when I say spiritual. I'm not talking about religion, because a lot of you are exhausted carrying the expectation and the weight of your religion, and you don't even recognize it because you've always been carrying it. You don't recognize it as a weight. You don't recognize it as a burden. And when you carry spiritual weight, when it weighs on you, when it holds you down, so much of what you need gets replaced with, I got to perform this thing. I can't drink. I'm a Christian. I can't have a drink. I can't fornicate. I can't, be yoked up. I remember when I was a Christian, I had this belief that I couldn't even be friends with people who were not Christians. I couldn't be unequally yoked with these people. The weight of making sure you're always doing it right. Always doing it right. And when you have to be the strong one, in the end, you're just proving that your worth is through sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your time. You have to sacrifice your money. You have to sacrifice your feeling. You have to sacrifice your rest. And a lot of us, if we're telling the truth, being needed feels safe. It feels safe. Being useful feels safer than being vulnerable. To say, Kwame, I'm just tired today. Saying to your kids, honey, mom can't make dinner tonight. I'm really, really tired. That feels like you can't do that because your kids are expecting dinner every night. So you have to provide dinner every night. You feel guilty telling them to, order some takeout or go in the freezer and get something frozen and microwave it tonight. You feel guilty. Because being strong feels safer than being honest. I want you to hear me when I say this. Being strong feels safer than actually being honest. Even when you're drowning, even when you're grieving, even when you're overwhelmed. I lost my mother when I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter. She never got to meet her granddaughter. She never got to meet my child. And when my mother passed, I had maybe a month to grieve. And I say that because I had 2 small children at home. My oldest son at the time was 6. The other one was 3. And I had a baby on the way. When was I going to find time to grieve? I told myself, I don't have time. I have children that need me. I have a baby that's going to nurse. I have to keep myself calm so that I can produce the milk to feed this child. So when would I have time to grieve the most important human in my life? The human that brought me here to be a human. When would I grieve her? When would I grieve a mother that knew when I was upset, knew when I was sad, would call on the phone? When was I going to grieve the mother that would travail in prayer over me and my husband and her grandchildren? When was I going to grieve this mountain of a woman in my life? I told myself I didn't have time. I didn't have time. And a lot of you are telling yourselves you don't have time. You don't have time to grieve the friendship that you lost. You don't have time to grieve the relationships that you lost. You don't have time to grieve the marriage that is no more. You don't have time to grieve the death of a child, the death of a spouse, the death of a parent. You don't have time because everybody else is waiting on you to be strong. Waiting on you to be strong. And I will tell you this from experience. If you don't find the time to grieve and find the time to truly rest, you are going to break. My break landed me in a mental institution. Now, some people will say, well, your mom's been gone for a very long time. To me, that woman left me yesterday. And if you don't make the time to grieve, to truly process whatever the loss is, instead of running out to be the strong one. Oh, how you doing? Girl, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's better today. It was a good day today. All the lies we tell to make sure that everybody else is comfortable with our presence and they don't have to sit in grief with us. Because the truth is, we don't like grieving people. We like strong people. Grieving is honest. Strong is safe. And I want to ask this question. What is the performance costing you? I want you to truly think about, what is it costing you to constantly need to be the strong one? Because there's always a cost. Funky Johnny used to say, if you don't get it on the front end, you're going to get it on the back end. There's always a cost. I can't tell you how many TikTok videos. There's a trend that says, oh, you're so strong. And the person says, oh, thank you. And I saw one today that said, oh, thank you. I gave myself an autoimmune disease. If you're not on TikTok and you're not following that trend, just go type in the search, you're so strong, and just watch all the things that happen to people while everybody thought they were so strong. This young man said, I was so strong, I gave myself an autoimmune disease. Because like I said, you're going to pay it on the front end or you're going to pay it on the back end. But it's going to cost you. It may cost you your health. It may cost you your peace. It may cost you relationships. It might cost you joy. And the cost may be ourselves. Because when you're the strong one and you're performing rest, you know what you're never performing? Self-empathy. That's not in the room. That can't exist in the dichotomy of strong and empathy. Those two things are incompatible. So while you're being strong, you are not giving yourself the empathy to feel the failure. Some of us don't even feel the failure. We fail and we move on to the next thing. We don't give ourselves the permission to feel the disappointment, to feel the loss, to grieve. We don't do any of that. And when you don't do that, the thing you're not giving yourself is self-empathy. When I developed the empathy scorecard and the self-empathy scorecard, the empathy scorecard was birthed out of, I want people to measure. You don't know until you measure. You don't know until you measure. So when I developed the empathy scorecard, it was about people measuring how they engage people in the world at them. Don't look like them. None of it like them. And as people were engaging with the empathy scorecard, I said, oh, now how are you going to talk to people about having empathy for other people and you don't address the empathy they have to have for themselves? And then birth the self-empathy scorecard. a mutual of mine on TikTok had downloaded the self-empathy scorecard, and she's a nurse practitioner. So she works in healthcare and she takes care of people. And she's one of the kindest people I think I've met on social media and online. And so she said, I sat down at the kitchen table. I was getting ready for work. I figured, oh, I'll just do this little fun little test before I go off to work. And she said, I got to section 2 and I said, oh, this is not an easy little thing. Oh, this is getting at me. And as she was answering the question, she said, people do this? People talk kindly to themselves? People don't themselves up? Because for her, she is strong. She has to be strong because she's working in healthcare. She has to take care of her patients, right? And so there's very little room. So you can give all that empathy to other people, which she does as a nurse practitioner, and realize she was not giving that to herself because she needs to be the strong one in her profession. And that comes into the home. And she said, I was thinking, all the things on this scorecard is what I tell my boys to do. I'm really good at telling them they need to do this for themselves. And I realized I wasn't doing that for me, because when you need to be the strong one, there is a cost. There's always a cost. You're not going to get around it. You're not going to be the one to beat it. You're not going to beat the system. And perhaps the greatest tragedy is that many of us have become so disconnected from our own needs that we no longer know the difference between rest and escape. Listen to me. We have become so disconnected from our own needs. We don't know the difference between, are we resting or are we escaping? Because I think a lot of people are conflating the two. You think getting away is rest. No, you're escaping. Because wherever you escape to, your mind is still wandering. And if your mind is busy, your body's going to respond to that. Your nervous system is not going to be at rest. So all you've done is taking yourself out of the environment, taking yourself out of the job for a week on vacation, taking yourself out of the friend group, but your mind is still there. There's no rest there. It's still racing. So though you have physically extracted yourself from the place, you are still very much in the same place, because rest restores, escape distracts. Rest reconnects. Escape numbs. Rest allows you to return to yourself. Escaping it helps you avoid yourself. And many of us, I raise my hand, have become experts at escaping while calling it self-care. You have become an expert at escaping and labeling it self-care. What are you escaping from? Why do you need to be the strong friend? Why do you need to be the dependable friend? Why do you need to be the friend that everybody calls when they're in trouble? And then you look around and there's nobody you can call when you're in trouble. Or at the very least, maybe 1, 2. And out of those 2 people, only one of them you actually trust to be honest and be vulnerable with. Because when we make strong our identity, and this is especially prevalent for Black-bodied people, Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, Black Hispanics, some Black Asians, some Black Brits, this has become our trope. And especially as a Black woman, I know this story all too well about the strong Black women trope. And we're going to talk a little bit about that right after this commercial break.
Hey, it's Dr. Nicole D. Vick from Dr. Victorious, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
The news is divided. Ground News puts it back together, with coverage from thousands of outlets around the world in one place. So you can spot sensational reporting, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Beside every headline, you'll see who owns the source, how reliable it is, and if they have a political bias. Multiple perspectives side by side, giving you a well-rounded view of today's biggest stories. Visit ground.news to learn more.
Hey, how y'all doing? Real quick, this is Daryl Walter, host of the Daryl Walter Show. I know. And you are watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Welcome back to the show. So just at the top of the commercial break, I was talking about how Black women get labeled as strong. And some of us, for too long, have worn that label as a badge of honor, not realizing that label was stripping us from our own humanity, and that label was stripping us from feeling and seeing ourselves. When you are the strong Black woman, people don't think you need rest. People don't think you need care. People don't think you need vulnerability and the space to be vulnerable. Because when you are strong and when you need to be strong, most times vulnerability cannot exist in that space. You see it as a weakness to be vulnerable. You see it as a weakness to ask for help. You see it as a weakness to say, I'm not strong. I started saying this, especially when I would go on dates with men, and a lot of them were not of my complexion. And they would say things like, I just love Black women because I just find them so strong. And I would say, well, you've met the first Black woman who is not strong. I'm very tender. I'm soft. I need help every time. It pains me to open my car door by myself. I hate it so much. And the men across the table would look at me and just say, okay, I like taking care of a woman. Like, we don't even understand how being the strong Black woman is even affecting our dating lives. When the man thinks we're strong, the man doesn't think they need to be careful with us, cautious with us, soft with us, because we can handle anything. When we take on the identity of being strong in the workplace, we get more things put on our desk. We get talked to in a way that's not conducive to growth or development because we're strong. We can handle this. We're not going to be the women that cry in the office. The other women do that. And every time we lean in to the strong Black woman, we erase our humanity, not just with other people, but with our own selves. Because if I've convinced myself that I'm a strong Black woman, I have to be a strong Black woman, what happens when I fail? What happens when I come up short? What happens when I don't like the environment that I'm in? What happens? Can I be vulnerable and say, I don't like the way you're speaking to me? It hurts my feelings. Probably not. Because see, that's not what a strong Black woman would do. What a strong Black woman would do is check you. She wouldn't be vulnerable with you and say, Kwame, I know you didn't mean that that way. And I think I know you well enough to know you didn't, when you said that, you didn't intend for it to hurt me, but it has. We can't do that. We go from, oh, you said something nasty, you said something slick. I'm not going to take the time to process how it made me feel and take the time to communicate that to the other person on the other side of this conversation, because I'm strong and I'm not going to let you play in my face. So tonight I want you to sit with a few questions. I want to ask you a few questions. So I want you to sit with them. What would it be if no one needed you for a week? And these are not questions that you answer quickly. I want you to sit with them. I want you to think about them. What would you be if no one needed you for 1 week? 1 week. What would it be? Who would you be? Who would you be if nobody needed you for a week? Some of you probably heard that question and you breathe a sigh of relief. You're like, oh, like you can imagine how good that would feel to not have somebody need you for a week. You imagine how good that would feel. And right after imagining how good that would feel, I guarantee your thoughts went into, but I have this and I got to do this and I got to do that. Like, you're already racing back to the thing, because the thing becomes your identity. And so you can't see yourself out of the identity. But I want you to think about that question. Who would you be if no one needed you for a week? When was the last time you rested without feeling like you had to earn it first? I have too many things on my calendar. I have too many things to do. I gotta clean the house. I gotta do the laundry. I gotta show up for this gig. I gotta show up for this meeting. I gotta show up for this event. All the things that you're dreading doing, right? And you feel like you have to do these things to earn your rest. When was the last time you rested without feeling like you've earned it? What part of your identity depends on you being needed? Don't answer that quickly. Sit with that question. I want you to think about that. What part of your identity depends on being needed? If you stopped performing strength, what emotions would finally have room to speak? Grief, fear, loneliness, disappointment, resentment. If you stop performing being strong, what emotions would finally have room to speak? Is it grief? When I stopped, grief spoke, and grief almost broke me. Is it fear? Loneliness? Disappointment? And this is a big one, because a lot of you who are doing the I am strong and just performing rest, going to the spa days, putting the cucumbers on your eyeballs, laying down, let somebody massage you, maybe taking a nap in that massage and feeling like, oh, you are exhausted. And you think a 5 to 10, not 5. If it's 5, baby, pick another resort. And you think an hour massage with cucumbers on your eyeballs is enough to get to that soul tiredness, that mental, spiritual, and physical exhaustion. Some of you think going on vacation, taking all the pictures, showing your food, showing you laughing, showing you smiling, showing you do all the things, you think that's rest. You ever been somewhere with somebody? I've seen so many people make videos and say, oh, if you're not the take the picture girl, if you only want to stay in the room, if you only want to lay down, I can't go on vacation with you. See, because they have to perform even for the vacation. Well, where did you go? I went to Bali. How could you go to Bali and not take 1,000 pictures of the Buddhas? How could you not take pictures with the elephant? How could you not take pictures with the aerial view that everybody takes in Bali? You're performing rest. You're performing rest. Imagine if you went to Bali, turned off your phone, took no pictures, sat in the environment that you're in, this new environment that you're in, be able to feel and reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with your intuition. And there's no pictures to be shown, there's no aerial views to post, but you rested. You rested. You got your mind to quiet. You got your mind to not worry. See, because that's not sexy. That's not aesthetic. Rest is not aesthetic. Performing rest, bunch of aesthetics. Tons of aesthetics about performing rest. This is why we take the pictures with our robes, and we take our pictures meditating. We take our pictures with the cute we take the pictures because we have to perform this rest. But when you rest, there are no pictures. You're just resting. There's no camera turned on. You're just resting. And sometimes that rest looks like sitting down on the chair, saying nothing, doing nothing, recording nothing. Just feeling your body again. Do you actually need rest, or do you need permission? Permission to stop proving yourself. Permission to stop carrying everything. Permission to stop earning your worth through sacrifice. Permission to simply be. And who are you asking that permission of? Who are you asking that permission from? You need rest, but you're seeking permission. Who are you asking for permission? Who? I think many of us are exhausted, not because we have too much to do, but because you have built an identity around carrying what was never yours to carry alone. I know people in marriages, husband and wife. The wife is carrying all of the weight of the household maintenance, all of the weight of the children, all of it. And you know why a lot of you don't put it down? Because then you will be deemed a great mom, a fantastic mom. I don't think people realize how much of their identity is wrapped around being the strong one. And no amount of self-care can heal a wound created by continually leaving yourself behind. No amount of self-care, listen to me, can heal the wound created by continually leaving yourself behind. And I think that's why some of you resent the women who won't leave themselves behind, will disconnect from you, and if on social media, will block you. See, because that's not something you do in your own life. You don't cut off the friends who are draining you. You don't cut off the family members who are taking from you. You don't cut off the job that lit you disease. So when you see somebody else, another woman, another man, who don't play about themselves, that says, I don't care that your comment was appropriate or right or wrong. I didn't like the way it made me feel, so you got to go. Because that's not something you would ever do. You will let people abuse you. You will let them go back and forth with you. So when you don't do that, you resent those people. So who are you trying to prove yourself to? That's another question I want you to think about. Who are you trying to prove yourself to? Because a lot of you who are trying to prove yourselves to people, those people aren't really paying attention to you. And they want you to prove yourself for the sport of it. They want to see how much they can get you to do. But I will submit that the strongest thing you can do is finally putting some things down and picking yourself up. I'll see you next time on Tammy's Take.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.